So it turns out that rushing a tank item on Veigar is actually the most optimal way to play him now. The collector buffs for this patch will make it a really nice rush again on a bunch of champs, so we'll have all this and much more in today's video as we bring you guys 10 of the most OP builds for patch 14.20. And did you know mastering your champion will boost your win rate by a massive 9% on average? That's why at SkillCapped we offer Smurf commentaries. Simply select the champion you want to master and get guides from challenger experts teaching you how to play your champion in the exact rank you're stuck in. You're even guaranteed to have all your questions answered by that very same challenger expert. After that, take one of our 5 brand new courses that teach you the secrets to carrying as a top laner, jungler, mid laner, AD carry, and support. It doesn't stop there. We have new Season 14 courses on macro, wave control, trading, setting, and hotkeys, CSing, vision, mechanics, low elo mistakes, the list goes on. The best part, you can try all this out completely risk-free. Since if you don't rank up while actively using SkillCapped, you get your money back, no questions asked. So what are you waiting for? Click the link in the description below right now to get the rank you've always dreamed of. So tank items really didn't get nerfed as hard as many of the fighter items in 14.19, and because of this, we're seeing certain fighters slotting in tank items when possible. Urgot is one of these champs, as he's been really liking Heartsteel as a core pickup, as the item has been performing incredibly well as a second purchase. It's actually a really interesting 3-item core as you rush Black Cleaver, go into Heartsteel second, and then pick up Overlord's Bloodmail third. Of course, Heartsteel is going to be providing you that 900 health, so this is some really nice synergy with the passive on Overlords, as it converts 2% of your bonus health to attack damage. So you're not only getting super tanky with this core build, but the damage output will still be very respectable. The best rune page to run alongside this build is Press the Attack with Triumph, Bloodline, and Cutdown, followed by Free Boots and Approach Velocity for secondaries. Item changes from 14.19 have brought forth an interesting new core build for Aatrox that has been winning a ton in solo queue. Since the 14.19 item changes went live, Eclipse has no longer been performing as well as a rush on Aatrox. You lost 10 AD while the item is also 100 gold more expensive. Sundered Sky and Eclipse used to have pretty identical win rates as rush items on Aatrox prior to the changes, but Sundered Sky is now winning over 2% more as a rush since then. Instead of building the standard Eclipse into Sundered Sky, this build has you rushing Sundered Sky, going Steric's Gauge second, and then Death's Dance third. The Death's Dance pickup is pretty underrated for Aatrox because its passive has some really good synergy with all the healing coming out of Aatrox. Death's Dance allows you to delay the enemy's damage over the course of 3 seconds, so this helps to give Aatrox more time to heal up and not get burst out as quickly. The combination of the Steric's shield popping in a fight along with this Ignore Pain passive on Death's Dance gives Aatrox some absolutely crazy extended fight strength. The Keystone rune will of course be Conqueror with Triumph, Haste, and Last Stand, followed by Bone Plating and Revitalize for secondaries. There's a Graves build that will be coming back in meta for 14.20 as we are seeing some big buffs to the Collector. Rushing the Collector will be a lot better now because the cost of the item is going all the way from 3,400 down to 2,950. You are losing 10 AD on the item in exchange, but it's a net buff and allows for a quicker early game item completion, which is big. With the Collector being so much cheaper, it actually makes going into Infinity Edge second a lot more viable. Going for a full out crit setup is going to become a really solid option for this patch now. Keystone rune with this build will be Fleet Footwork, followed by Triumph, Alacrity, and Coup de Grace, while Free Boots and Cosmic Insight are for secondaries. Ivern has a new build that has become much stronger over the past patch, and it revolves around running Dawn Core as a core purchase. We've actually seen this pulled out at Worlds by Inspired on FlyQuest, as it's a setup that really looks to amplify your shield power. The first item is Redemption to provide your entire team with the AoE heal, and then Redemption also gives you a bonus 10% heal and shield power. With Dawn Core, it's also going to provide you with a 16% boost to heal and shield power. So in total, you're getting a 26% boost in Ivern's shield. Dawn Core saw its cost reduced in 14.19, so it's more easily accessible earlier on in the game and allows Ivern to hit his full build a bit faster. You're going to be slotting in Moonstone as well, so it's just all about providing whoever you throw your shield on the most amount of durability as possible. Here's what the core build is going to look like as you rush Redemption, go into Moonstone second, and then Dawn Core third. Keystone rune is Airy, followed by Nimbus Cloak, Transcendence, and Water Walking, while Cashback and Cosmic Insight are for secondaries. Arguably the craziest build of the entire video is one for Veigar, as it revolves around rushing Winter's Approach. Tank items have always been pretty good on Veigar, but the big difference with this one is that players are actually rushing it. Deadman's as a later game pickup was played a bit in the past, but we've never seen a tank item come into meta as a first purchase, at least as far as we can remember. The stats behind Winter's Approach Rush are incredible as well, with the item winning at an identical rate to the Rod of Ages Rush. One of the big pros to Winter's Approach is that it's only 2,400 gold, so it's a quick completion for a tank option. It's also got the tier aspect to it, and eventually transforming into Fimble Winter. So since Veigar's early game is already relatively weak, you can play for a really big mid-game spike with Winter's approach and Rabadon's. Of course, you'll be getting the shield from Fimble Winter when you hit an enemy with your stun, so the item gives Veigar some nice added durability, which allows him to play a bit more aggressive, looking for those picks with his E. So Winter's approach is the only tank pickup with this build, as you need to be building Rabadon second, and then Void Staff works great third. Especially in games where you're playing against an assassin mid or are against a comp with a bunch of heavy dive, going for this build makes a ton of sense. The rune page will consist of First Strike followed by Free Boots, Biscuits, and Cosmic Insight, while Mana Flow and Transcendence are for secondaries. An item that has seen a rise in priority on a few champs after the item adjustments has been Hubris, and it's performing very well on Talon. Hubris is just a really strong solo queue item on an assassin like Talon because it really amplifies his snowball power. Whenever you score a kill with Hubris, the item is going to give you 2 bonus AD that can stack with each kill, so if you rush Hubris, you are able to get the most value out of this passive. Talon especially is a champ that if he gets the ball rolling early on, due to his incredible roaming power, he should be able to stack kills pretty fast, so you'll just end up with a ton of bonus damage from Hubris. The second item in the build will be Opportunity, and then Edge of Night slots in third. You'll be taking Electrocute for the Keystone rune with Sudden Impact, Eyeball Collection, and Ultimate Hunter, while Nimbus Cloak and Scorch are for secondaries. A build that will be way stronger for 14.20 on Lucian consists of rushing the Collector. It's going to be the same core build that we mentioned when covering Graves, as you rush the Collector, go into Infinity Edge second, and then Lord Doms or Fire Cannon can work third. The most common Lucian build right now has him going Essence Reaver into Flicker Blades, but this build offers way less burst potential than if you go the Collector into Infinity Edge. Our damage will be hitting way harder in the mid game with Infinity Edge as a second pickup, and capitalizing on catch plays will be much easier. The best rune page for Lucian consists of Press the Attack with Presence of Mind, Bloodline, and Coup de Grace, while Free Boots and Biscuits are for secondaries. There's a new Draven build that has been creeping into meta throughout 14.19 that should see even more play in this upcoming patch. Hubris is back on Draven, and it's looking like an incredibly deadly rush item right now. The item just makes so much sense for Draven because he wants as much early game snowball strength as possible, and Hubris provides exactly that. The more kills you require, the stronger your Hubris becomes, and it gives Draven some crazy burst power in the mid game. Now, the core build isn't actually full lethality, and Hubris is the lone lethality pickup as you're going into Bloodthirster second. BT is just too good to pass up on with Draven, so even though you're not building it first, it's actually arguably better as a second pickup now anyways. Remember, Bloodthirster did just get changed recently, so that its shield is not as powerful early on in the game, which means delaying the item until second is actually a good play. Hubris into Bloodthirster is just such a nice core for Draven because it's got the perfect mix of burst power and sustain, which allows for Draven to play super aggro. Now, for Draven's rune page, you want to be prioritizing Lethal Tempo now that the rune is back in the game. PTA is still viable, but Lethal Tempo has been leading to far greater results for Draven in solo queue. Since the 14.19 item changes, we have seen Dawn Core priority shoot up on a bunch of enchanters, and one support who's looking really strong with it is Soraka. While a lot of enchanters are slotting in Dawn Core as a third pickup, Soraka is actually liking it best in her second item slot. You just get so much of a boost to your heal and shield power when going for Dawn Core, which gives Soraka a really crazy mid to late game spike. The heals you'll be constantly dishing out in team fights will be way stronger, and you'll be able to keep your teammates topped up on health to win out on those extended fights. With less damage in the game due to all of the item changes last patch, it makes someone like Soraka who loves those more extended fights even better. So the core build that you should be looking to try on Soraka consists of Dreammaker as your item upgrade with Moonstone and Dawn Core. For the rune page, it's Airy with Mana Flow, Transcendence, and Scorch, followed by Bone Plating and Revitalize for secondaries. And the final build we have for you guys to round out the video is going to be one for Rakan. Rakan's 2 core pickups being Zeke's and Locket were both nerfed in 14.19 and have lost a decent amount of power. Now, this actually doesn't even really matter though, because there's a different item that you should be prioritizing as a rush, and it's Trailblazer. Players are just heavily sleeping on Trailblazer right now because in 14.19 it was actually buffed while every single other melee support item was nerfed. Now, especially for a heavy engaged support like Rakan, Trailblazer is such a no-brainer pickup because of the bonus movement speed it provides. Movement speed on an engaged support like Rakan is just so valuable because being in the right spot at the right time is so important to capitalize on pick plays. Trailblazer is also giving you more armor at 40 as opposed to the 25 from Zeke's or Locket, so especially in games where the enemy comp is majority physical damage, you need to be prioritizing Trailblazer. After building Trailblazer, from then on out, it really depends on what you think will be the most valuable for your team, as Zeke's, Locket, and Shirelia's can all be purchased second. Celestial Opposition will be the support item upgrade though. As for the Keystone rune, you should be taking Guardian with Font of Life, Bone Plating, and Revitalize, while Zombie Ward and Ultimate Hunter are for secondaries. Alright guys, one last thing, our rank up guarantee is insane. It's like signing up for the gym and getting a refund if you don't get ripped. That's how confident we are in SkillCapped. We obsess over making the best guides with top players, rigorous testing, and top tier video editing to make your climb easy. If you're ready to level up, visit SkillCapped.com and see the the difference. So that's going to wrap everything up for the 14.20 edition of the most OP builds. Thank you all so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.